She accidentally catches her boyfriend flirting with another woman, and unable to believe her eyes, she immediately confronts him. But the man who once adored her is now ice cold, drawing a sharp line between them without hesitation. Even with his contempt written all over his face, Marianne refuses to give up, chasing after him for an explanation. This classic romance film uses brutal reality to teach girls a sobering lesson. Cutting your losses isn't defeat, it's the best way to save yourself. Marianne was born into wealth at Norland Park, raised in luxury with servants attending to every need. Unlike her hopelessly romantic sister, Eleanor is steady and sensible, keeping the estate running like clockwork. Their father's passing marks the beginning of the family's collapse. On his deathbed, he summons his only son, John, to his side. In an era when women had few rights, only sons could inherit, so Norland naturally passes to him. He begs John to care for his stepmother and 3 half-sisters who are left with just £500 a year, barely enough to survive, let alone afford dowries. John promises everything, but no sooner is their father gone than his wife Fanny convinces him to kick his stepfamily out entirely. Desperate for shelter, Eleanor hunts for cheap rentals while quietly telling the staff that new owners are coming. That night, John arrives from London with Fanny, and the tension at the dinner table is suffocating. Their mother is drowning in grief, while Marianne wears her anger openly, radiating hostility toward Fanny. Fanny doesn't care a bit, acting superior as she flaunts her family connections and announces plans to invite her brother to stay. To spite Marianne, she deliberately gives away her bedroom to her brother. The women all turn to look at John.
If that is agreeable to you.
This is your home now.
His mother knows perfectly well her stepson won't take their side. By now, she's too tired to fight anymore. With 3 daughters and no fortune, she was destined to lose the silent war from the start. Only Marianne still has fire in her belly, but nobody cares what she thinks. The next morning, Fanny's brother Edward rides up on horseback. He instantly captures everyone's attention, and his handsome charm makes Eleanor fall for him at first sight. And Marianne, however, isn't thrilled about the guy who stole her room.
How do you like your view, Mr. Ferris?
Very much. Your stables are very handsome and beautifully kept, Mrs. Dashwood.
Stables? Edward, your windows overlook the lake.
Turns out Edward felt awkward taking the master suite and asked the servants to put him in a guest room instead. His thoughtfulness wins Eleanor over completely, and even Marianne drops her grudge. Edward is nothing like his cruel sister. He's kind-hearted and urges her not to make life harder for these grieving women, but selfish Fanny refuses to listen. While touring the library, Edward accidentally steps on a book, and a tiny squeak comes from under the desk. They've been searching everywhere for youngest sister Margaret, who can't bear leaving home and has been hiding away. Edward opens the door and teases her with geography trivia, intentionally getting the answers wrong. Bookish Margaret can't resist popping out to correct him, marking their very first meeting. Shaking his hand like a little adult, Margaret finds a friend in Edward, who ignores class and age gaps to play sword-fighting games with her on the lawn. Watching this, Eleanor finally smiles again. Since their father died, sorrow has filled her heart, and she hasn't felt this light in ages. Edward's arrival is like a ray of sunshine, chasing away the shadows in her mind. When Eleanor cries quietly, he silently offers his handkerchief. They stroll across the lawn, sharing their favorite pastimes. At night, he reads aloud to them by candlelight. Even though they're about to leave Norland, Eleanor feels strangely at peace, cherishing every second with Edward. One day, their mother receives a letter offering a cottage at a bargain rent. It's great news, but she decides to wait before telling Eleanor. She sees how smitten Edward and Eleanor are and wants to give them more time together. Marianne, though, thinks there's no spark between them. It's too calm, lacking passion. In her eyes, true love should be wild and fiery. Her mother reminds her that not all love looks the same. Eleanor is reserved and guarded, keeping her feelings buried like a dormant volcano, calm on the surface but burning inside. Her mother understands her better than anyone. From the moment she met Edward, Eleanor was hooked, but knowing the vast gap in their social standing makes a future impossible, so she never speaks her heart. Fanny notices everything and keeps reminding their mother that Edward's family expects him to marry nobility, not just anyone off the street. That evening, their mother officially announces they're moving out. Fanny's smirk says it all, but since they're being evicted anyway, a cheap cottage is a blessing. Edward hates seeing them go. He expected them to stay until summer and wasn't ready for such a sudden farewell. Margaret begs him to visit her in Devonshire. Just as he's about to agree, Fanny cuts him off, claiming their mother in London needs him back immediately. The abrupt goodbye leaves them both devastated. Before leaving, Edward tries to confess something to Eleanor, but Fanny interrupts again, rushing him out the door. He's forced to say a hasty goodbye. Those unspoken words become a ticking time bomb between them. Eleanor doesn't dwell on what he wanted to say. She's accepted her fate. Him in London, her in the countryside, living separate lives is their ending. As Edward disappears around the bend, Eleanor can no longer hide her sorrow, and that unconfessed love becomes a painful regret. Inside the carriage, everyone looks miserable except Margaret, who clings to hope that Edward will visit.
Wager he will do so in less than a fortnight.
Marianne also dreams of romance, convinced Edward loves her sister deeply enough to defy convention. They soon arrive in Devonshire and settle into the cottage. It's no grand estate, but it's clean and cozy, enough for the family to call home. Gone are the days of luxury. They do everything themselves, slowly adjusting to a modest, hard-working life. Eleanor doesn't mind the labor, but her heart aches for someone far away, often lost in sadness. Landlord Jennings is a nosy but well-meaning gossip who visits often, introducing every eligible bachelor in the area. The most notable is Colonel Brandon, a wealthy local gentleman nearing 40 who remains unmarried. The next day, Brandon pays a visit and hears beautiful singing drifting from inside before he even reaches the door. Marianne sits at the piano, bathed in soft light, looking vibrant and lovely. Brandon falls for her instantly, but Marianne's gaze remains indifferent. From the start, this crush burns only on his end. Jennings tells Eleanor Brandon's tragic backstory. Years ago, he loved a poor girl, but his family tore them apart, casting her out until she fell into ruin. Forced into the army, he returned from India and searched frantically, only to find her lifeless body in a workhouse. For 20 years since, Brandon hasn't loved another soul. Hearing this breaks Eleanor's heart. She and Edward face the same insurmountable class divide. Brandon has healed from his past and treats Marianne with gentle kindness. Jennings is determined to matchmake them. Eleanor stays out of it, wanting Marianne to follow her own heart. Jennings suggests Brandon and Marianne perform a duet together. Marianne bluntly refuses, claiming she doesn't do duets. She's not rejecting the song, she's rejecting Brandon himself. Brandon senses her coldness and accepts it gracefully, despite the sting. Back home, Marianne complains about Jennings being meddlesome. Then a package appears on the table. Margaret eagerly opens it to find an atlas sent by Edward. He promised to deliver it personally, but broke his word. Eleanor's last shred of hope vanishes completely. She expected this, so she sheds no tears, just falls silent. Eleanor isn't sure if Edward truly loved her, and even if he did, he'd never marry a penniless girl. The wealth gap is uncrossable, especially since he never gave her any real assurance. As dusk falls, restless Marianne takes Margaret for a walk and trips, twisting her ankle in agony. Rain starts pouring, and she sends her sister to get help. Suddenly, a rider bursts through the downpour toward them. The man kneels to check on her, and Marianne finally sees his face. Rain drips from Willoughby's striking features, making him devastatingly handsome. In that instant, Marianne's heart skips a beat. Willoughby scoops her up, and she willingly wraps her arms around his neck. Marianne had zero interest in the quiet Brandon, but falls head over heels for the dashing Willoughby. Looks alone unlocked this young girl's heart. She values appearance over substance, mistaking fleeting passion for true love. The next day, Brandon arrives first with flowers to check on Marianne. She treats him coolly, and he takes the hint and leaves. Right outside, he runs into Willoughby. Willoughby enters to a warm welcome from the whole family, and when he presents wildflowers, Marianne treasures them like gold. They hit it off instantly. When he leaves, she hobbles after him on crutches, glancing back longingly with eyes full of longing. Her mother and Eleanor can tell she's completely fallen. Eleanor disapproves of her approach, too intense, lacking restraint, wearing her heart on her sleeve. It's a recipe for heartbreak. Marianne can't understand why love should be hidden.
No particular reason, only that we know so little of him.
But time alone does not determine intimacy. 7 years would be insufficient to make some people acquainted with each other, and 7 days can be more than enough for
Or
others.
7 hours in this case.
One sister is calm and composed, the other naive and fiery, constantly clashing over their opposing views on romance. Eleanor retreats to her room, pulling out a handkerchief embroidered with Edward's name as her longing grows. But knowing it's over, she buries it deep inside. Marianne and Willoughby's romance heats up fast. At a gathering, she traces his silhouette in the lamplight. So absorbed, she misses the devastation in Brandon's gaze. He can't stop loving her, yet must watch her fall for someone else. Lost in bliss, Marianne leaves all household worries to Eleanor. Eleanor budgets carefully to keep them afloat while Marianne and Willoughby are inseparable. She keeps a lock of his hair, and their public displays of affection spark gossip throughout town. Eleanor warns her to be discreet to protect her reputation, but Marianne couldn't care less. Brandon rides over and invites the sisters to dine at his estate. Eleanor politely accepts. Marianne shows no interest until Brandon mentions Willoughby will be there, then she happily agrees. Her feelings are transparent, and her blatant preference stings Brandon deeply. Soon, Willoughby pulls up in his carriage, and Marianne leaves with him immediately.
Your sister seems very happy.
Her passionate impulsiveness disregards all social etiquette. This worries Eleanor terribly. Innocence is fine, but trusting the wrong man could leave her empty-handed.
I knew a lady very like your sister, the same impulsive sweetness of temper, who was forced into, as you put it, a better acquaintance with the world.
Brandon's words only deepen Eleanor's concern. On the day of the dinner, Marianne waits by the road, eagerly scanning for Willoughby. The moment he appears, her face lights up. Willoughby focuses solely on her, barely acknowledging anyone else. They drive off together, and Eleanor watches with growing unease. Marianne acts like she belongs to him already, and if things fail, she'll become the town's laughingstock. Meanwhile, Lucy strikes up a conversation with Eleanor, mentioning she'd heard her name before arriving in Devonshire but won't say who mentioned it. At the same time, Brandon receives a letter, turns pale, and decides to leave for London immediately. He abandons the group in a rush, leaving everyone confused. Only Willoughby complains, publicly bad-mouthing Brandon with arrogant flair. Eleanor wonders why he despises Brandon so much.
Because he has threatened me with rain when I wanted it fine. He has found fault with the balance of my high flyer, and I cannot persuade him to buy my brown mare.
Before parting, Willoughby asks Marianne for a private word, saying he has something important to tell her. Thrilled, she assumes he's proposing. But when the family returns from church, they find Marianne sobbing uncontrollably while Willoughby stands silently nearby. He must leave for London indefinitely, and any return would be brief. This means it's over between him and Marianne. Eleanor's worst fear comes true. Marianne's fairy tale romance has turned into a joke. Their mother sensed Willoughby's genuine affection and can't fathom his sudden change of heart. But Eleanor always distrusted him, sensing something was off.
You are resolved then to think the worst of him?
Not resolved.
Eleanor is the rock of the family, while their mother, despite her age, remains childishly naive, a trait Marianne clearly inherited. Crying echoes from both bedrooms, and helpless Eleanor sits on the stairs with coffee, letting the heartbreaking sobs wash over her as she processes the pain. At the next gathering, Marianne is unusually quiet. Lucy invites Eleanor for a walk and finally reveals her secret. She's been secretly engaged to Fanny's brother for 5 years. Eleanor assumes it's Robert, but when Lucy says Edward's name, she goes numb. Edward was engaged 5 years ago, yet courted her as a single man, winning her heart before slipping away. That unsaid confession before he left was about this engagement. Assuming they'd never meet again, he kept it hidden. But their brief encounter left a permanent mark on Eleanor's soul. Thankfully, he never voiced his feelings, or she'd have unknowingly become the other woman. Lucy brings this up deliberately to stake her claim and warn Eleanor to back off.
I cannot pretend it has not been very hard on us both. We can scarcely meet above twice a year.
Wiping tears with a handkerchief bearing Edward's initials, she watches Eleanor's reaction closely. Seeing the pain in Eleanor's eyes, she feigns concern and presses further. Eleanor forces herself to remain composed. Curious Jennings can't resist eavesdropping. Lucy pretends to swear Eleanor to secrecy, though she secretly wants everyone to know. Soon, Jennings announces a trip to London and invites Lucy, Eleanor, and Marianne to join. Everyone is thrilled because London holds the people they long to see. Only Eleanor lacks enthusiasm. Knowing Edward is betrothed, she wants no part of it. She tries to decline, but her mother urges her to go, and Jennings insists warmly, so Eleanor relents. Marianne is ecstatic, finally getting to see Willoughby. Throughout the journey, Lucy brags endlessly to Eleanor about Edward's devotion, claiming he's loyal and never makes her jealous. Every word pierces Eleanor like a needle. Having first heard Eleanor's name from Edward himself, Lucy harbors hostility and constantly hints she should forget him. Upon reaching London, Marianne immediately writes to Willoughby announcing her arrival and spends all day waiting by the window. Eleanor advises her to show some restraint. No sooner does Marianne sit down than male voices echo from downstairs. Thinking it's Willoughby, she leaps up excitedly. But when the door opens, it's Brandon standing there. Unable to hide her disappointment, Marianne walks straight out. Brandon asks Eleanor about Marianne and Willoughby's relationship status. Eleanor chooses her words carefully, confirming they're in love to help Brandon move on. Days pass and Marianne sends letter after letter, but none receive a reply. Her devotion is utterly wasted. Hearing of a ball that night, Jennings assumes Willoughby will attend and takes the girls along. The ballroom buzzes with activity. Jennings spots Fanny, who introduces her brother. Lucy and Eleanor assume it's Edward, and their hearts race, but it turns out to be Robert. Tactless Jennings deliberately mentions Eleanor, prompting Robert to ask her to dance. Eleanor accepts graciously and chats politely, though she has no desire to connect with anyone new. During a partner switch, Eleanor unexpectedly bumps into Willoughby. He offers perfunctory greetings, distant and cold. Marianne spots him too and rushes over without hesitation.
Will you not shake hands with me?
Ignoring everyone's stares, she chases this love only to be met with icy indifference. Willoughby looks at her blankly, as if their time in Devonshire was merely a dream. When she demands to know why he ignored her letters, he panics and refuses to explain. Her passionate love has become nothing but a burden to him. Marianne persists, only to watch Willoughby approach a wealthy-looking woman. The woman turns, eyeing Marianne with judgmental disdain. After Willoughby whispers in her ear, the woman mocks Marianne aloud. The insult stabs Marianne straight to the core. Eleanor quickly pulls her away. The truth is obvious. Pressing further would only bring more humiliation. With Jennings' help, they escape early. Back at their lodging, Marianne collapses into profound despair. The next day, she finally gets a reply, but it holds no apology or explanation, only finality. A few careless sentences sever their ties completely. Marianne's grand romance ends up being nothing but a cruel joke. Eleanor comforts her, saying it's better to see the truth now than regret it after marriage. Yet Marianne deludes herself, insisting he must have a valid reason. She throws herself onto the bed and wails uncontrollably. Jennings arrives shortly after with harsher news. Willoughby is marrying that heiress, who boasts a fortune of £50,000. His greedy, heartless nature is fully exposed. Meanwhile, Brandon seeks out Eleanor to reveal the real reason Willoughby abandoned Marianne. It turns out Eliza, the girl Brandon saved years ago, grew up to love Willoughby and bore his child. When he found out, he callously deserted her, enraging his family, who stripped him of his inheritance. Desperate and broke, he pursued the wealthy Miss Grey. Brandon's sudden departure was to handle this very crisis. Eleanor feels relieved hearing this. Marianne was merely dumped, but Eliza suffered far worse. Not wanting Marianne to lose all faith, Brandon softly adds that Willoughby genuinely intended to propose until money swayed his decision. Learning this doesn't devastate Marianne further. At least he loved her once, even if his character wasn't worthy of it. Choosing wealth meant forfeiting true love. Tragically, in the face of reality, genuine affection is worthless. Soon, Lucy returns, bragging to Eleanor that Fanny adores her and Edward's mother approves, so the wedding is imminent. Eleanor hurts inside but maintains her composure. Just then, a servant announces Edward's arrival. Caught off guard, Eleanor faces an incredibly awkward reunion. Edward walks in, eyes fixed solely on Eleanor, completely missing Lucy in the corner. Eleanor hurriedly points her out, freezing the room. Unaware of their engagement, Marianne enthusiastically ships her sister with Edward, making things infinitely worse. Desperate to flee, Edward excuses himself and bolts. Eleanor seizes the chance to ask him to take Lucy along, granting them privacy. Later, shocking news arrives. Upon discovering Edward's secret engagement, his mother demanded he break it off or lose his inheritance. Honoring his vow, Edward refused to abandon Lucy. Consequently, his mother transferred everything to Robert. Marianne is stunned, but Eleanor isn't surprised. She knew Edward would do the honorable thing.
Why did you not tell me?
Lucy told me in the strictest confidence. I could not break my word.
But Edward loves you.
Convinced Edward truly loves her sister, Marianne urges Eleanor not to give up. But Eleanor has principles. She'll never be the other woman. True love matters, but integrity and dignity matter more. Eleanor isn't heartless. Letting go of her beloved agonizes her too. As the eldest daughter bearing the family's weight, she swallows every ounce of heartbreak. For the first time, the sisters open up completely, embracing tightly and drawing strength from each other. Later, Brandon approaches Eleanor, wishing to offer Edward a parish living to support him and Lucy, but fearing it might wound his pride, he asks Eleanor to convey the offer. Spending time with Brandon, Eleanor increasingly sees him as gentle, dependable, honorable, loyal to his past, and sincere with friends. Days later, Eleanor meets Edward to relay Brandon's generous offer.
Yes, I've heard his name.
Colonel Brandon desires me to say that, understanding you wish to join the clergy, he has great pleasure in offering you the parish on his estate at Delaford, in the hope that it may enable you and Miss Steele to marry.
Edward realizes Brandon extended this kindness purely for Eleanor's sake. Romance is off the table forever. All that remains is a heartfelt farewell. Eleanor sincerely wishes him well, choosing to release gracefully what she cannot hold. Nobody knows the depth of sorrow hidden beneath her calm exterior. A few days later, escorted by Brandon, the sisters head back to Devonshire. Passing Brandon's estate, they learn Eliza is staying there awaiting childbirth. Unable to face it, Marianne wanders off alone for a walk and strays too far. Thunder cracks and rain pours down violently. She ends up standing before the very estate Willoughby was meant to inherit.
Love is not love, which alters when it alteration finds, or bends with a remover to remove. Oh no, it is an ever-fixing mark that looks on tempests and is never shaken. Willoughby.
Only now does she truly grasp that Willoughby never loved her. His affection was a whim that crumbled under pressure. Brandon finds her in the storm and carries her soaked, shivering body back to safety. That night, Marianne develops a raging fever, hovering near death. Eleanor keeps vigil all night while an anxious Brandon personally fetches their mother. Miraculously, Marianne survives the ordeal, breaking her fever and waking at dawn. In that moment, clarity hits. Handsome faces and romantic thrills mean nothing compared to a man's character and integrity. Her understanding of love matures completely. Back in Devonshire, she spends increasing time with Brandon, her gaze shifting from disdain to admiration and affection. Their mother and Eleanor sense a wedding is on the horizon. Meanwhile, news arrives from home that Edward is married. Assuming it's to Lucy, Eleanor accepts the pain with quiet resignation. Resigned to spinsterhood, she views romance as merely optional, until one day, a rider appears at the gate. Margaret instantly recognizes Edward. His arrival throws the household into chaos, flustering even the usually composed Eleanor. After pleasantries, Eleanor cautiously probes for details. Turns out once Edward lost his fortune, Lucy promptly ditched him to marry wealthy Robert. Bound only by duty, not deep love, Edward released her without regret. The love Eleanor thought was lost forever suddenly circles back. Always restrained, she finally breaks down in tears of joy. Only then does Edward realize how deeply she loved him all along. The story reaches its perfect conclusion. Marianne marries Brandon, and Eleanor becomes officially engaged to Edward. Eleanor embodies reason, shouldering family burdens with stoic endurance, hiding her love so deeply she nearly missed her chance. Only at the very end does she drop her guard, her tears serving as the ultimate testament to her journey. Marianne represents emotion, fierce and fearless in love, yet betrayed due to poor judgment, enduring searing pain before learning that beauty and passion fade while character and sincerity endure. One sister is extreme logic, the other unchecked feeling, mirroring the dual nature within us all. Emotion gives life warmth, while reason provides direction. Neither can exist without the other. When Eleanor finally weeps freely and Marianne learns to smile serenely, we witness not women molded by society, but souls forged by life's trials into wholeness, strength, and true maturity.